Hey guys, so today's lesson is going to be about the Declaration of Independence. The lesson will talk about the establishment of the Declaration, the reasons why it was created, who drafted it, and what is its significance, followed by a clip of a reading from the Declaration of Independence. In 1775, the Revolutionary War was in full swing. However, few colonists desired to gain independence. That is, the Revolutionary War did not start with many colonists wanting to gain independence, but rather a lot were loyal to the king. But in 1775, King George III rallied to increase the Royal Navy and Army against the rebellious colonies. Obviously, this would have upset many colonists, seeing as the king they were being loyal to was now raising armies against them and fighting for their colonies. And when news reached America in January of 1776, this contributed to the strengthening of the Radicals' cause. More colonists were likely to join the Radicals because they were no longer loyal to the king. And in March of 1776, North Carolina became the first colony to vote in favor of independence. Shortly after North Carolina became the first colony, many of the other colonies came to follow. Drafting the Declaration of Independence was a big job, and it required a committee of about 5 men. The most important man completing the task was Thomas Jefferson. During the Revolutionary War, Jefferson served in the Virginia legislature and the Continental Congress. And while he wasn't noted as a very gifted speaker, he was noted as a gifted writer, and therefore was set to be the head of the committee when drafting the Declaration of Independence. But besides Thomas Jefferson, there were 4 other men on the committee, many of whose names you may recognize. The committee was composed of 5 men, including Thomas Jefferson, John Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Roger Sherman, and Robert R. Livingston. The Declaration itself is divided into 5 different sections. The first section is an introduction, followed by a preamble. The body of the Declaration is divided into 2 sections, and finally it ends with a conclusion. The introduction discussed the necessity for the colonies to seek independence from Britain. The first statement in the opening of the introduction states, "When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth, and to separate in equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind, required that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation." The body of the Declaration discusses the grievances against the British Crown. This is perhaps the most essential component to the Declaration of Independence because it explains exactly why the colonies needed this separation from England. One of the most famous passages from the Declaration states, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, and they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed." The Declaration of Independence was adopted on the morning of July 4th, 1776. It took several different days for the committee to draft a final conclusion of the Declaration of Independence. And the Continental Congress officially adopted the Declaration on July 4th, which is now what we know as Independence Day. What is this significant, you ask? Well, it demonstrated people asserting their right to choose their government. The Declaration of Independence is a very significant document in the form of American democracy. And the Declaration of Independence influenced individuals in different countries, most notably the French Revolution. The Declaration showed other individuals that people could draft an idea of a government that was run by the people for the people. And now it's time for a lesson. Listen closely to this excerpt from the Declaration of Independence. When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them. A decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such forms as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence, indeed, will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes, and accordingly all experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty, to throw off such government, and to provide new guards for their future security. Such has been the patient sufferance of these colonies, and such is now the necessity which constrains them to alter their former systems of government. The history of the present King of Great Britain is a history of repeated injuries and usurpations, all having in direct object the establishment of an absolute tyranny over these states. To prove this, let fact be submitted to a candid word. And now it's your turn. Please continue to this link to read a text transcript of the Declaration of Independence. When reading, make sure to read carefully, take notes, and come prepared to class tomorrow.